Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now.
Welcome back, partners. I am Architect Patch, and you are watching Curve TV, your collaborative construction show, Season 3. Okay. Curve TV. Brings you the with different sides and faces of the industry like never before. Fresh, inspiring, unintimidating. So, join us for an hour of talk and more. Let's get ahead of the curve. Thank you very much, partners, for being here with us. And because it is the first day of the Burr months, can you imagine that? We have prepared to you a super good lineup. And we are going to get inspired as we have two top notch design firms joining us tonight as we talk about interior design strategies in the new normal. So let's now meet them. First off, we have Bianca Favela and Mark Steven Perez, principal interior designers and architects at Empire Designs. Also, we have architect Isabel Berenguer Asuncion, principal architect and designer at Asuncion Berenguer Incorporated, together with interior designers IDR Eileen Pandanganan and architect Rica Galvez. Good evening to our guests. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Patch.
Hi.
Wow,
Good to be
thank you
here.
very much. Thank you so much. We told this to them that whenever we have interior designers on the show, the Zoom background or their backgrounds are always so curated. Diba? Parang always ready. Everything is well lit. Setup is great, and it's so pleasing to the eye. So thank you very much for preparing yourself for this show. I'm so excited. How are you guys doing?
Great.
We're
Yeah.
good.
Yes, we're okay.
Good.
We're
Great.
excited.
Rolling
to
with the
do this
punches
show.
of the pandemic.
I know. It's crazy how we are still on lockdown, right? Parang
Yeah.
sometimes hindi, sometimes yes, but we have to keep up with everything that's happening. And this topic for today is very timely because we thought that the world is going to open already last year. But
Yes.
as we go along, we're still inside, indoors, and the human behavior is kind of changing na rin diba? And the way we see things. So I want to get everybody's perspective when it comes to that and how it has affected our profession in the industry. So I have a lot of audience and friends looking forward to hear your thoughts because when we talk about interior design, we touch on the accessorizing and fixing your rooms or your buildings. It's very pleasing to the eyes. It's all about aesthetics. But we all know that it has a lot of planning to do also and the concept behind it, right? So let's start the conversation going. I want to know your principles when it comes to parang designing now when it comes to sustainable projects. Let's just jump right straight to it. Maybe I can ask Mark first regarding that.
Yes. First off, we would like to thank you for having us here in this live event. We're very happy to share with you our thoughts and experiences. So, this pandemic has really taught us a lot of things, and it is very challenging at that. Designing interiors, basically, we have to be very, we have to look far behind what we have now currently. So, we didn't really expect that we're going to have this kind of challenge in this history of that we have now. But yeah, the way we do it in Empire Designs is that we really dwell on the client's requirements per project, right, Bianca?
Yeah, I think what Mark is saying is that, like what you said, Batch, no, before we really focused on, people think that interior design is focused on aesthetics. And we all know that it's not about aesthetics, it's really more about the person using the space, right? The function. And I think the pandemic really brought that in light into light, and everybody realized oh, hey, it's not really about entertaining people or showing off your space. It's about me and how I feel in this space that I'm staying in. Because we all started to be staying at home 24/7, and we didn't realize we needed all these things. We needed work from home space. We needed a home study space. So I think obviously it really changed a lot because the functions has changed significantly since we started. So I think that's how our industry was affected basically.
Bianca, you mentioned that we feed off from the emotions and the personalities of our clients, right? When we talk about interior design, and because of the changes and how the pandemic has been affecting everybody, did you notice that there were also changes when it comes to the personalities of people? Did it, affect it in such a way that they became, brighter, or sometimes parang they see things in a darker perspective? I don't know. Did it affect that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like before, if you notice, diba, parang people would adhere to trends. Like,
Yeah.
there was a time parang everything was industrial. And, parang even if that's not like who you are, it's the trend. So all the houses look the same. But now, I think everyone is into, focusing on individualism and, bringing out their personalities, showing their hobbies, their likes. So it's not really about following the style anymore. It's really your own style. Like, how do you feel in this space? Because it's you staying there anyway. So I think that's how it affected greatly.
What about for Isabel? Is it that way also?
Very
noticed
much
some
so.
change?
Very much so. If anything, the pandemic is transforming everyone. We find ourselves in spaces where we haven't spent that much time in. And I'm talking both physical spaces and maybe mental and emotional spaces. And you kind of see a peeling away of people's personalities. You see changes. And I think each individual is now understanding themselves better. And with that as well, the spaces around them are also starting to transform. So you'll have people where suddenly they want to change the color of the room, or parang this artwork doesn't sit well with me anymore. Before I liked that, before I didn't.
Yes.
My room, for example, I had another black and white painting that I really liked in this wall. But once I settled here to work, I said, that painting's not me. So I changed it to another artwork. And you see that kind of sentiment with a lot of people. And you also find people, interior spaces are good because they can be both inspiring and functional, but they're not transcendent like outdoor spaces are. So you also see
Right.
people now craving for that. You either bring it in or you bring yourself out. Like, people are renovating to have bigger openings. People are suddenly craving balconies. You have this kind of change that's totally unprecedented. We've never seen this before. So there's
And I
a
think we
good to
can-
this pandemic.
Right. And we noticed that with the people who are into plants, diba? We're all living, most of us live in a condo. You don't have your open spaces. Why not bring in the plants?
Yes.
Find indoor
Yes.
plants, diba? And you have your own garden inside, diba?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I mean, like, I can relate to you guys because here in my unit, I can't remember how many times I've tried to rearrange the furniture just so it could look different. Diba? Parang you're stuck
Yeah.
here inside and it's nakakasawa. Diba?
Right.
I wanna know with your companies and your firms. Let's start with Rika and Isabel. What about your design style? We were talking about your clients and how people are starting to change when it comes to their personalities. But what about when it comes to your design style? Did it evolve also? Did it change? Did it affect you?
I think style-wise, I think our style is pretty much implanted within us. Like,
Mhm.
we work within a certain parameter of an extreme of left to right of what we can do. And I think it's also because it comes naturally to us, like to us principal designers, for example. And I think for the people also with us in the team, they wouldn't have worked with us if they also don't work within that kind of aesthetic
Yes.
principle. No, in terms of changes, I think us personally, we don't see it much, except that we're more now sensitive to how people perceive their indoor spaces, and we're trying to like maximize the potential of the indoors for them.
Right.
Yes,
What about
because
for
our
Empire? Oh yeah, go ahead,
Yes.
Rika.
Yes, because our firm really has a signature style that's really the reason why we have our clients now. But of course, what we see that we are transforming now is because of what the pandemic has brought. We try to introduce new spaces, like there are more residence lounges that people can use instead of bringing other people into their home. People are more conscious now of the space of the spaces that we provide.
Parang the spaces are more personalized now,
Yeah.
diba? And more intimate,
Mm.
very close to us
Definitely.
versus before
Yes.
wherein we entertain socialization and it's more interactive. Now it's more about us. And it's
Yeah.
self-caring and self-love, diba? What about for Empire, Mark and Bianca? Has it affected any of your design style or on how your design process is during this pandemic?
Well, I mean, like what Isabel said, our design style is really like embedded already in our, in our bones. And for Empire, we call it understated luxury. So it's not, so luxury is all about comfort, right? And function. And so luxury to you, maybe, luxury to someone else, right? So I think it hasn't changed in that way. Like we're still focusing on comfort and luxury, but it's really more, like we said earlier, individualized. It's really catered to the person staying in the space. Like, one person would say luxury for me is having like the softest bed sheets, like sleeping all day.
Yes.
Another diba would be like, oh, I want to have like huge windows. So diba, so I guess it changed in that way. Like I said, people don't want to have homes that look the same. They really want to focus on themselves and their well-being.
Yeah,
Right.
and just to
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mark.
and just to add to what Bianca mentioned, so with this situation that we have in right now, it actually brings out, a different set of lifestyle that our clients have developed through this whole quarantine. So people now are into health and well-being. So we would find ourselves designing for spaces where you could do some yoga and meditation, and others would love to stay in the kitchen, and because they want to hone their hobbies or talent into
Isabel,
cooking and baking.
The kitchen, right?
Right,
So
right.
you're always in the kitchen.
My
Exactly.
kitchen. That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, spaces now are multifunctional already.
That's
Right?
right.
Your
yeah.
your dining table is becoming your office or your desk at daytime. At nighttime,
right.
you're meeting there, and then your kitchen during daytime, it's your workspace. For those who are starting their small businesses, diba? They
Yes.
bake and then they cook. At night, it's more for them. And I
Yes.
think it's the small corners that before didn't have any use are now for plants, for
Mhm.
storage. And that's the nice thing about how this quarantine has been, trying to evolve in everything. And I guess yung human behavior talaga natin, it's changing. But one thing that I want to touch up on also, guys, is aside from the fact that we are all indoors and we're very restricted when we go to work, right? We work from home most of the time, especially your employees also. Now, the technology, right, is so important already on how we interact with our consultants, with our clients, and everybody in the industry. And the nice thing about it pushed us to really capitalize on technology and the digital output. So I want to get your thoughts on this. How are you adjusting to this, or were you ready for this kind of setup prior to the pandemic? Let's start with Empire.
Yes. Actually, this prior to pandemic, we were not into online shopping, but now everyone is just so on their phones, on their computers, trying to shop. And with this pandemic season, we were actually able to develop something for our projects and also for our clients, wherein we were able to create an online platform for consultations and also shopping for any of your home goods, right, Bianca?
Yes, actually, So we call that Gussie. So it's our newest baby. So we have Empire as the traditional interior design firm, but then we have Gussie for smaller spaces, purely online. Well, at first, to answer your question, we really had a hard time like adjusting to technology. I mean, considering that we are still technically millennials, the mark, technically.
Order. Yeah.
Border. But then,
Still in.
still in. Yeah, but if eventually we really had to ask our staff, like, can you please teach us how to, do Zoom or whatever? I think all of us just had to adjust, and technology really helped, and that's why we decided to like create Gussie for those who are apprehensive in doing a full-on construction.
Traditional.
They don't want people coming in and out of their homes. It's really mostly styling. They have a Pinterest board, but then they don't know what to do with a Pinterest board, right? Diba? Parang they have like all these photos, and then they still need advice, but they kind of know what they want. So they just, it's like when you go to the doctor and you just ask advice, and then that's it. So something like that.
We can put the link here so that they can visit it and see, because a lot of people are doing DIYs at home, diba?
Yes.
Everybody
Yeah.
is so inspired. Before, when we do Pinterest, it's only for us, mostly, diba? Parang our pegs, our concepts. Now everybody's
Mhm.
using Pinterest
Yes.
so that they can do their mini projects at home. And the
Yeah.
online consultation, Bianca and Mark, I think that's also a good a good way of knowing and interacting with your clients during this time. Have you gotten a lot of inquiries already or clients
Yeah.
through that portal?
Later, we can show you some of the projects, how fast it was, how easy, and no face to face whatsoever. Everything was bought online. You just wait and everything's delivered. And then, you can Zoom with us, like just to ask simple things like, where do I put this plant? Or, what color will this wall be? And I guess that's how technology really helped us. And it really evolved because of this pandemic.
Right, and a lot of people need, guidance when it comes to mga colors, diba? What piece goes with what, and this is exactly what you guys are doing. What about for Rika and Bianca? How did you guys pivot in this digital age, at this pandemic?
Yeah, for us, before the pandemic happened, we were doing a lot of collaborative work already digitally, because we had projects that we were working on with big teams. So we were working with BIM systems, with Revit 360. We have clients from outside the Philippines. So somehow we were into that whole routine already of doing digital work. So a week before the pandemic happened, a week before the lockdown, we were all actually preparing to disperse all our hard drives and all our equipment. So when the announcement of the lockdown came, we already knew all the laptops and all the desktops were prepared. So we managed to distribute, and everyone took their computers home. Yeah.
Right.
So it was
What about-
actually a blessing that a few months before that, we started to do a lot of things on the cloud. We were saving files on the
Yes.
cloud. We were doing archiving and backups there. So when the pandemic hit, it was so easy for us to just establish a set routine on how to pull all our drawings down for work and distribute it to the team. So yeah, Rika's like in the forefront of that.
Yes, we have a bit of practice when it comes to online collaboration. And also, we have been doing online presentations with our clients. So that's something that we've already been doing. And then we have already been producing our material boards. We also have the option of providing digital boards to the clients. So that's how we got our... So when the pandemic came in, we were already ready. I think we just improved on the software that we were using. Because before we were like using Blue Jeans and Skype for the meetings and the presentations, but now we're using Zoom, which is much better, and Microsoft Teams. So I think that's basically the only change, but we're pretty used to it, and we're glad that we're ready for it.
And I always said this on the show that when it comes to the other industries, when we talk about the construction, yes, there are limitations, of course, when we talk about the site, diba? The actual construction. But when it comes to collaborating with us, design, and dealing with other consultants, we're always ready for that because we're always in front of the computer, trying to do different models, looking for inspiration and talking to different people. So, marang mas sanay tayo in a way. Di ba? We're ready. Before, yes, we're trying to not do printouts anymore. I'm sure you guys are doing that also with your offices. That as much as possible, we don't want to print. We just send soft copies. And then the cloud is there so that they can send or just save the data. And it's very convenient for us. So, I mean, when it comes to adjusting, I mean, in that sense, we were ready for it. But of course, it's still hard, diba? And difficult. So we're talking about the digital age and how everybody's just, confined in their homes so that we're all safe and healthy. We're trying not to go out. We need to take care of our health also. We lack exercise already in such a way that we don't walk anymore outside, outdoors, or travel wherever. So we try to maintain our well-being and our health, diba? That's why a lot of clients have been converting their spaces to their home gyms, to their, what Mark said a while ago, to their yoga area, diba? What are your tips and advice when it comes to converting your space? If there are other people watching who are still just trying to think of that, how can they start with that mini project? Do they need to have a super big space for this? What about if their house is compact lang? Maybe you can give us some tips. Let's start with ABI because, Eileen is here, finally joining us. Okay, thank you, Eileen. I will ambush you, but I'll let Bianca and Rika answer this question first so that you can read from them. Any tips from you guys on how you can promote a healthy indoor design or nook for everybody at home?
Okay, I think Eileen is frozen again. But
Yeah.
some tips for promoting a healthy well-being in your personal home. I think it's best to make use of the windows.
Yeah.
So it's very important to get natural light inside. Open your windows. Don't block them with anything. It's nice to have a workstation by the window so you can take advantage of the natural light. So it's another way of bringing the outdoors in. You get a little bit of vitamin D and sunshine. And also, in terms of making the most use of the space is that people have been using like hybrid furniture, like Murphy beds, beds that fold up into the wall so that you can use the space in the daytime. There are also loft beds where you can put the bed higher up so you can use the space underneath for your workstation. So that's some of the solutions that we can use by having the correct furnishings.
Right. And I like the tip on the windows, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you tend to block it because it's hot in the Philippines. You need some shade. But really, it helps you when it comes to maintaining your health and well-being inside the house. And it's so important because it lights up the entire area. Diba? What about for Empire? Mark and Bianca, any tips?
Yeah, with us, basically, you just have to find a specific spot in your home where you could have that, private space, so that you can focus and give time for yourself and your well-being. You could be creative, like have your iPad, your computer in front of you, or your TV perhaps, and just follow some, YouTube exercise and hit. You don't need expensive equipment. You just have to be very creative at that. And yeah.
Well, for me, I've been exercising at home, no, and I feel like you don't really need a big space. Like if you just research on like simple exercises apart from yoga, like basic jumping jacks or burpees, you can do that in like a 2x2 space, and which is like anywhere in your house, right? It can be in the living room, it can be in the balcony. So we kind of call it combined spaces with a little bit of privacy. People feel like they have to create like an entire gym with all the gym equipment, but again, you can, if you really want to focus on well-being, there's so many things you can do without so much equipment, without like changing a lot of things basically.
And accessorizing is already so important. It has to do with interiors, diba? Like for example, if you do meditation and yoga, you see a lot of candle warmers pa lang, diba? That already set the mood. And I love using that with your scent, just finding the right scent. And then, again, you buy those, uso rin yan ngayon, yung standalone mirrors. Either diba?
Yes.
You can see
For
that
selfie.
those are right for selfie,
Yeah.
for gym.
While
It has a lot
exercising.
of uses. Exactly.
Yeah. And your lighting as well. You can
Yeah,
play
the
with the
lighting.
lights.
Right.
Yeah.
And lighting is so important now. I mean, for your Zoom calls, diba? This is your only interaction when it comes to your clients. First, you just started with a ring light. Now you add like mga accent lamps behind you, diba? And then it just makes you feel better. It has a psychological effect also. And I guess when you feel good, you think about your well-being as well. And a lot of it has a lot to do with the design inside the space. And I think that's one essence that the interior designers can capture also, diba? Something that's pleasing to your eyes. Now, are there certain I know you guys have your own branding when it comes to your design, and you've been doing this for a long time, and you guys seem to be enjoying it so much, diba? It's a passion na maybe sometimes you don't even think that it's a job for you, diba? It's something that you really love doing. Are there any challenging projects that you've encountered even pre-pandemic? Kasi pandemic, everything is challenging already just to get the workers in the unit or do the construction. So let's try to backtrack a little. Pre-pandemic, what were the most challenging projects that you've encountered? Let's start with the team ABI.
Yeah, I think Eileen, do you want to start with one?
Yeah, hi. So first of before pre-pandemic, well, we worked for hospitality design before, and then we have this one project which we worked with a Church of Latter-day Saints temple. So it's a different position. So I guess the challenging part of that was really studying. I made the pattern of the edge in a form of course that we have an app. How you will transform it into ivy. And I think also their design are more classic, which is kind of new to us because we're more of the modern approach. And then also, I think one challenge also was to integrate the Filipino design into the religion and to the temple design itself. So I think that's one of the, a challenging yet really exciting because you're really trying to discover something given the project that you deal with.
Yeah, and I don't want to put ABI on the spot here, no, but Eileen mentioned something to do with incorporating Filipino design. And I really want to ask you guys, and a lot of friends and students will also ask this, what is a Filipino designed interior? How can you say that it's Filipino design? Is it because of the material? Is it because of the planning? Your thoughts here, Isabel?
Yeah, that's a very complex question with a very complex answer. Because we're very multicultural. No, so when you look at the Philippines alone, even without colonialization of the Spanish, without the Americans, we were already very diverse at that time. I mean, we have how many dialects? We have so many islands. So we have that very, how would you say, maybe indigenous Filipino look or design. And then you have all the other influences that came in. I think for us, we look at it as if it was any part of our history, then it's
Yeah.
part of our design. We take it as being part of ours. It's very hard to box it up because it's really so wide. It's so
to
diverse.
pinpoint, no, na parang when you see wood, that's Filipino. If you see the Capiz window, that's Filipino. But really, it's the entire combination of everything.
Yeah.
Because we
Yes.
are multicultural, diba?
Yes.
That's right.
So
Other
ju-
challenges, Bianca. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So just to give an example, Patch, the project Eileen was talking about, the Filipino accents that we had to put in were largely Phil-Hispanic. So it's more the calado wood patterns.
Yes.
It was more of the, stencil patterns in the ceilings. So the lighting we were picking up from the Dutch lanterns also that came in at a certain time. So we were doing that there, but we also have another project in Cebu where our client requested for Filipino influence, and there it's all tattoo patterns. So it's two very different interpretations of what Filipino influence is. So there it's like Los Pintados, the Visayan tattoo.
Visayan, yeah.
We repeated those patterns. So two very different definitions of Philippine design.
But they are still Filipino design, diba? Right.
Yes.
Any other challenges that you guys encountered?
Yeah. Well, for us, anytime we do a residential project is a challenge. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure sila Bianca and Mark can identify. We also do a lot of commercial work. So, when you do commercial work, everything is very budget driven and schedule driven. And there's always some value proposition at the end that you need to fulfill.
Exactly.
With houses, it feels a bit like a free for all. We love doing houses also because in terms of what you can spend on, your clients will normally want to spend a bit more than what a commercial budget will allow you to buy or to specify. But you go through squabbles between husband and wife, you go through indecision, you go through
True.
people changing their minds, and you can't blame them because if that was your own house, you would be going through the same thing. So it's part of the project. So we always find that challenging, but it's also rewarding because a lot of your residential clients also become your friends because you have such a close personal relationship with them as you work on the projects. So it has
Because
its
it's very
rewards.
intimate, diba? It's an intimate space kasi, and you really have to
Yes.
be careful and sensitive about it.
Yes.
Especially families wherein they have different personalities and characters. Yung isa
Right.
gusto minimalist, the other one wants to be like what? Tropical naman. So you have to
Right.
find that synergy between the two of them. What about for
Yes.
Mark and Bianca? Does that happen? Is that one of the challenges that you've also faced, or is there something else?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
It's actually the same for us for residential projects because it's more personal. And what's very challenging for residential project is especially when they have like heirloom pieces or those vintage or antique pieces that we wanna integrate into the interior space, and we wanna make it modern in such a way that's still gonna be timeless after 10, 20 years down the line. And when it comes to heirloom pieces or vintage or antique pieces, we have to make sure that each and every piece is like measured and properly accounted for, so that we could ideally space them out together in the different areas that we're designing for our clients.
Right. That's a nice touch, the heirloom pieces. Some
Yes.
people will not even think that matters, diba? But for some, it's an intricate piece that you really have to position and make sure that sometimes you make a story out of it or a quadrille
Exactly.
out of it, diba? Bianca, anything else?
I was thinking a challenge prior to the pandemic would be like the length of the project. So, for example, residential projects before would really take so long. I mean, because there were so many choices, people weren't in a rush. So the tendency is that they change their minds. They travel to, let's say, Morocco. Oh, I want Morocco now, and then they go to another person's house and they say, oh, it's minimalist. Oh, now I want minimalism. So it would really take a long time. But now, naman in the pandemic, everything naman is rushed. Everyone's like, I want to move in now. So. I was laughing when you asked what are the challenges, because I feel like it doesn't matter if you're in the pandemic right now. Being a designer and an architect is still it's pretty much a challenge. So yeah.
Did
So
you
it's
ever feel that, like, for example, midway of your designing, your client suddenly says, I'm going to travel, I'm going to Europe for 2 weeks. Did you ever feel scared na parang, oh my gosh, when they get home, they're probably going to tell me to apply this because they were inspired by some cafe or some hotel abroad?
all the time.
Diba?
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
That's
You know,
one challenge, yes.
let me share. I remember one time we had a client who had a very large walk-in closet. It was already very large, but we couldn't fit in her bags and her shoes. So we were telling her, you either have to expand or you need to give some of these things away. And she left for Europe and she came back and she was cringing and she was telling us, I'm so sorry, I bought 6 more bags and X number of things. So we're like,
Oh my
no.
Right. And it's nakakatuwa kasi you know that your clients have taste also. Diba? I mean, the nice thing about it is they notice a lot of things, but that makes the profession exciting because you find ways on how to make it work and not just shut that idea down. Na parang, nah, it's not gonna work. Let's not use it. But that's the fun part when you can actually integrate it with your designs. And a lot of people wouldn't think that that's something fun for us, even for us architects, diba? They travel and then they go back and then they say, oh, yung door, parang I want it here because I want a larger space. Because I saw in a cafe or in a hotel, parang they made use of this corner, parang they have a reading nook, diba? And then all of a sudden, you have to change your plan. So, I mean, these are the things that really fire us up in making things happen. And the creativity kicks in.
Right.
For those who are watching the show, later, we are going to show you their projects and you will see how these challenges came about and how the team of Empire Designs and Berenguer Asuncion was able to work around these concepts. So, parts, let's continue our conversation when we return. Don't go away. Curve TV Season 3 will be right back.
Empire Designs is a premier interior design firm based in Manila, Philippines, whose mission is to create beautiful interior spaces that exudes understated luxury, the design style we are most known for. We have been able to successfully live out our mission through the trust and partnership of our clients, including reputable developers such as Anchorland, Ayala Land, and Jaka. Our portfolio consists of a mix of high-rise amenities, high-end residential, commercial, and hospitality projects, many of which have been recognized in local publications as well as by regional awarding bodies. Last August 2020, we launched Gussie, an online platform that combines e-design with a curated marketplace, allowing interior design to become even more accessible. And last June 2021, we started Bridging Spaces, where we provide pro bono design services to community builders with the hopes of uplifting lives and further igniting change. All our initiatives are in line with our belief that good design is meant for everyone.
Welcome back to Curve TV Season 3. Still with us is an awesome group of designers from Empire Designs and Asuncion Berenguer Incorporated. Now, we've asked both teams to share with us some of their projects. I am so excited to see this, and a lot of people are excited to see this. They've launched and accomplished despite the pandemic. So, I think Team Empire Designs is already ready. Take it away, Mark and Bianca.
Okay. So we have actually prepared some presentation or a visual deck. But maybe we could do it with, sorry, technical problem. I'll try to share my
So
screen
accepted
now.
nowadays. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll try to share my screen now. Okay.
I think it's supposed to share. Carlo?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, no.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
It's okay, Mark. The suspense is exciting.
How- Let me just try
Okay.
it again.
Don't worry about it. We'll just do the sharing, and maybe you can do the explanation, of course.
Mhm.
You can see the projects via our StreamYard, right? To our tech team. Okay. Yeah, we'll just do an overlay. There you go. Okay, we can see it on screen.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the projects that we have prepared to show you or share with you guys are actually the projects that we have, done or turned over during the pandemic season. To be specific, that was about 2020 to early 2021. So for our first slide, we have the Ortigas Land Showroom that we did here in Ortigas, Pasig. It's actually in Capital Commons. But I'm not sure if your screen is moving at the moment.
Go ahead. Just
it-
go with with your explanation. We'll do the changing of the slides. We can see it.
All right, there. So you can now see this one. This is actually the flagship showroom of Ortigas Land and Company. It's located, as mentioned, in Capital Commons. So during this time, it's like a one huge space in the Estancia mall that they have, which we started while the mall or the whole building is still being constructed. So it was a very challenging part to do because we had to house all the workers that we needed to do to finish the project. And finishing stage actually would mean periodic visits to the site, and we would go there wearing our PPEs and all the protective gear, etc. And we would have ourselves tested every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah, so turnover of the project was supposed to be in March, and then bam, the lockdown hit, and we all had to wait until until everything would settle down and construction would start again. And then when construction started, this was the biggest project that we had. This is about 2,000 square meters of space that was just put on hold. Like what Mark said, all the construction workers were literally living there, so they don't have to travel and they might get the virus or whatever. They were just there, and the families actually, the workers who were there were really getting so tired and stressed from just being in that space without seeing their families for 2-3 months. So I think this was really it really took a hit on them. And then for us, naman, like what Mark said, we would be our PPE. So when we started going to sites, we were all full on PPE space.
Yeah.
And it's so hot. I mean, and then now, no, now. But then before, when it started, we were full on everything. So, yeah, but I mean, we were still able to finish this project. So, you can see through the slides, the different spaces. So you have reception area, you have your negotiation spaces. We have model units inside. There are about 4 or 5 model units inside. There's lounge spaces. So it's pretty big. It's now open if you guys want to take a look at that. And then the next project would be a residential project. So this is, if you guys are familiar with the vlogger Kat Arambolo Antonio. So this is another project that was ongoing and then it was put on hold. So we designed their house. Mark, you want to talk more about this?
Yeah. Again, well, this is in a village in Makati. So this was a challenge because, of course, you would have to pass through the gate or the security. And, visiting sites are very important for you to be able to, have your designs materialize in an actual in the end. And as you can see, all the pattern, all the spaces here in this project are, very Instagrammable because Kat is a very, she's an influencer and she
Influencer,
goes,
right? Yeah.
yeah, she goes into like her YouTube. Now she's into TikTok. So that was her requirement or part of her request that every nook or corner would be Instagrammable. So we made sure that even though we have those details, they're properly implemented. Like if you'd see the flooring, we would had to mock them up and then do some actual plotting, laying out of all those marbled flooring material, and it was such a challenging part of the project. It's all black and
the
white.
accents, Mark, no? The accents that you guys use, the black accent really played a really nice, contrast to your
Yes.
design. So
Because that's
nice.
also her character. She loves black, white in particular, and also touches of metallic elements like brass or rose gold or copper. So as you can see now in your screen, there's this nicely done kitchen by Scavallini, one of our friends and suppliers. So and the appliances are also based on their requirements. The side by side fridge from Sub Zero, and all those other nice storage spaces for them. But again, they're all in black, white, and touches of metal like copper and brass. If you would look closely, the faucet is actually in rose gold finish, just like the Tom Dixon drop lights by the island counter. So everything is well coordinated together.
Very
And
nice.
the next slide would be that of Gussie. So that's what we discussed earlier. That is our online interior design. So earlier we showed you our traditional interior design with it. It really had a lot of construction. We would really be at the site. There's a lot of detailing on the floor, wall, and ceilings. But then for this one, for Gussie, as you can see through our photos, it's really about styling and just putting things together. So the first slide would be that of the SkyPod. So if you guys are familiar with the SkyPod of Chris Uy and Slater
Crazy.
Young,
Yeah.
yes. So they actually did like a YouTube, tour of their house. So this is basically an example of how we design the space. Even if there's already like a design in place, they already have the house, right? They did the YouTube and all. But then they asked us to help them, change the master's bedroom a little bit, cozy it up, add little elements. And they're from Cebu and we're in Manila.
Mhm.
So can you imagine how we were able to do that, right?
The
So it's
logistics, right? Yeah.
exactly. So it's everything's online. We just consulted them. What do you need? Can you help us like send some floor plans? So we didn't really have to measure the space anymore. Then send us some photos. Then we sent them a schematic design. We gave them like a shopping list. Oh, these are the things that we have to buy, and then just approve them. And then once they approved it, ship everything to Cebu, and then they just put these places themselves. So there's still a little bit of DIY with a little bit of hand holding from us, from interior designers. And then the next would be the nursery. Mark, would you want to talk about this? Billy and Colleen?
Oh yeah, this is also during the pandemic and last year, and this was for their first born baby, Amari, and it was a very challenging project because we were not there because we had to it's remotely done because we had to keep ourselves and them safe as well. So in this room, we actually interviewed them virtually, and we sought for their requirements and the color scheme that they want to achieve, and we've helped them develop that concept into this very cute safari themed nursery, very modern, and all of the furniture pieces were sourced online from Gussie. And basically, you could also do that if you just want to shop online and safely. There's Gussie where you could find several and very unique, hard to find pieces for your home and interiors.
A funny story about this is this room used to be their gym. So when everyone's like changing their rooms into gyms, sila naman changed it into a nursery because they were pregnant during the pandemic. So again, another Gussie project during the pandemic, just purely styling, everything online. And then I think I kind of skipped one project. So if we
Bianca, sorry to butt in, but the interesting about the baby room is not a lot of people use dark green or whatever the tone of green when you, diba, baby room is always either it's neutral or very what do you call that? Parang the palette
Pastel.
is more pastel.
Soft.
There you go. But this is diba? It's interesting. You don't really use emerald green. I don't know if that's if the screen is doing it right, but galing. Ganda.
Nice.
interesting is it's really the whole style came from them. They really were the ones who told us, I want this safari theme. We don't mind dark colors, and it's a collaborative effort between the two of us. It's not just like, oh, we decided let's just do safari theme. It was from them. So that's where their personality really came in. That's what we've been talking about, right? Like how the personalities of these spaces, or these people rather, are seen now in their spaces, and it's very different. It's unusual. It's not like the whole pastel and
exactly.
baby theme.
Actually, they sent us like one photo of a peg, and we tried to develop that further. So it's a really collaborative effort. Like, even though it's not blatantly safari that they sent, but we thought of trying to infuse also like that a modern safari themed nursery, which would be very warm and cozy, not just for Amari, but also for them as parents, first-time parents.
And it's easier to convert the room later on. If you don't want to do a baby room, diba? Parang it can still be convertible to something else. Galing. You were going to go back to a project that you skipped earlier.
Oh yeah,
diba?
so I think I skipped one. So another would be Doug and Cheska Kramer's condo unit. So we were also doing this again online. Actually, it's still ongoing. This is again everything from Gussie, everything online, collaboration from the client and with us. So this is basically like an extension of their Antipolo home, which they also
say.
Yeah, right. So again, it's really about collaboration. It's really like bringing the personalities of these people in. And if you look at our style, it's not us per se, but the person already.
Yes, agreed.
We wanted to showcase these different projects because they look different. Like they all have different looks, right? It's not like a signature look. Now, okay, that's Empire because they're the same. So I think that's what really brought about. That was really what happened during the pandemic. Like everyone was really just bringing out their own personalities. And then last, I think we have one last project. So this is like a living room of a to surrender project. This one naman, so the client said that they have this, studio unit and they want to have it rented out. We're showing you the before picture. So this is what it looks like. And, of course, right now with the pandemic, it's really hard for find people to, rent the space that they have. So they just needed some help. And they gave us a budget. They said, of course, I don't want to spend so much. This is just for rent. But, I want to make sure that it looks good for, potential tenants to like it. And so the next slide would be how we, gussied it up.
Converted, yeah.
Yeah, we call it Gussie Up because Gussie Up means like to dress up, the style.
Spruce.
To spruce. So that's why it's Gussie. So so it's basically the same. Again, no construction. We just added like a patterned wallpaper, added in some new furniture. We kept some of the pieces like the sofa, added a rug, pillows and all that. And then boom, that's it.
Lighting also.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we added some light as well.
Love the
There.
before and after. I mean, these are the inspiring photos that, when people see a blank area, they won't even think that it can be transformed to something like this, diba? So the before and after will give you a perspective that, what, this space looks small, but because of the planning and the mirrors, the accents and the colors that you choose, you make it seem bigger than it is, diba? So very interesting. Thank you very much. That's your last slide, right?
Yes,
Mark
yes.
and Bianca. All right. So now from Empire Designs, let's now jump to the projects of ABI. So Eileen, Isabel, and Rika, take it away.
So let me just share the screen.
But you were right, Bianca. The profile of your clients are all different. The personalities are all different. There's one who was very rustic. The other one was very the contrast, because sometimes you're scared to use a super dark color with a light one.
Black.
You don't know how. So that was a challenge already. People don't know this, but putting that black strip in the middle of the hallway you can either ruin the design or make it work. Diba? So you need to have some perspective to make that happen. So galing. And maybe you guys inspired people to explore colors when it comes to baby rooms, diba? You guys can actually use dark colors for that. You don't need
Or patterns,
colors
diba?
all the time.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Pattern,
we
correct.
like a mural or So I think
Yes, exactly. Okay. I think, Rika, we can see your presentation now on screen.
Okay, we're gonna run through these slides. This was a project we started before the pandemic. So this is the Seda Hotel in the Cebu IT Park in Cebu. So for this hotel, the brief we were given was they wanted something that was still in a way looked like Seda, but something that had subtle coloration. So we went with if you've been into a Seda hotel, it's all very neutral. But here we threw in very subtle earthy tones on the curtains, the accessories and all. And then of course they have in all their hotels, they have the Jaime Zobel artwork in the reception. So when we did this project, it was, I think, around October 2019. That was probably the last time we were there. And at the time, they were just boarding up the walls. They were installing the gypsum. They were making palitada. And we were talking about the lights. So a lot of the finishes weren't installed yet. I think the only one complete was the flooring, the marble floors. So everything else was done basically by remote control when 2020 hit, because when news of the pandemic was starting to go around, they didn't want us to go to Cebu anymore. So the project teams had to work. Everyone was working remotely at the time. So, something I want to emphasize to people, maybe like the students in the audience, this is the importance of documentation when you do projects. Because you can imagine how much furniture we had. We didn't do a design build here, so they procured all the items based on our specs. So we were inspecting virtually, lighting, furniture pieces, and they all had to be delivered, and none of us were there to guide them or assist them. So everything was really done from all our furnishing specification sheets. Everything was done from that, and they managed to set everything up and install everything with just based on all our drawings. So we felt very happy about that, because then it just shows that the team is working well in terms of all the documentation. I think they just misplaced 2 lamps in that entire hotel. That was the only there were just 2 where saan ba to lalagay? But everything else was put in. So we were happy. In fact, we'd like to thank, I'm not sure if this was TripAdvisor or we asked the permission of Seda, because we have not been there since the hotel was finished.
Wow.
So they actually started to operate already. They're operating, but we've not been there since completion. And we were hoping to go this month, but the Delta came in. So again, just roll with the punches and we still hope to make it there someday soon. Yeah. So next slide, Rika. Rika, you want to go through this? Rika worked on this project.
Yeah, so this one is Garden Tower. So this project was actually started when I first came into with ABI in 2019. So actually, we finished Tower 1. So our scope for this project are the lobbies and common amenities. So this is Garden Towers. This is a condo by Ayala Land Premier right across Glorieta. So as you can see here, our design here makes use of a lot of light colors, wood, and then so this project. So we finished Tower 1 by before the pandemic hit. So now we're trying to accomplish Tower 2. So the difficulties we had during the pandemic was that the timeline was really stretched. We targeted to finish the turnover for Tower 2 in November 2020. So that was the original schedule. And then, so the timeline really stretched, and now we're targeting it to finish in November 2021. So you could imagine, but so it takes a lot of coordination with us, with the site. So for the first few months of the pandemics, we were not able to go to the site. So they coordinated with us through pictures, videos of what problems they were encountering on site. And then when we were actually allowed to go back on site, we had to follow their protocols, strict PPE, and then also it was a challenge for us to coordinate with our suppliers, because not only the construction was delayed, also the production of the furniture was also delayed. And then apart from that, we sourced from several suppliers. So some of our furniture was sourced from Cebu. So the delivery from there to here in Manila. And then also we had a lot of pieces that were finished already and delivered to Manila before we can actually put the items in the on-site. So actually what we had to do there is we had to take up a whole storage unit just to store those furnitures and to keep it in tip-top shape in time for when we are actually able to ingress, which was a year delayed.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
One
You know,
year.
Their problem also, Patch, was because remember when the lockdown happened, a lot of workers went home to the provinces because they didn't know. So everyone was scared, so they all went home to the provinces. And then no one knew when they were coming back. So the number of workmen was also compromised. Yeah.
The
And
uncertainty, no, when it comes to
Yes.
construction talaga and execution is different.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah. So this place was crazy to go to in a PPE because we were still looking at two towers at the end of the day, and it was so big. So if you wear your PPE and you're inspecting one, then you cross to the other side.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Crazy. Yeah.
You can't even think of wearing any makeup. You don't wear makeup, but still you're melting, diba?
Yes.
And
Yes,
it's not like you
literally
can take out the
melting.
PPE. It literally melting. That's right. The challenges talaga.
Yeah.
And
And then with the
just as
suppliers as well. You know, we did this on a full turnkey for all the furnishings. So
Oh my
all the
God.
loose items, we had to coordinate, and our suppliers had the same problems. They weren't finished upholstering because the upholsterer
Yeah.
went home, and he wants
Production
to come back.
is affected.
And
Yeah.
then
the
walang
fabrics had to be
sasakyan.
ordered from abroad and they cannot be delivered.
And that's something that people don't really realize. When we talk about interior design, the furniture, they're all curated kasi. It's not like you
Yes.
just source them somewhere within the city. A lot of these pieces we get elsewhere, from the province, abroad. So the logistics and the deliveries, you have to consider that also, di ba? So talagang challenging. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and especially for these projects, a lot of we're really minimizing the use of off-the-rack furnitures for this
Yeah.
project. So we have or one sofa that the fabricator is here, but the material is from China or Italy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that there's
But at least you
the
guys
coordination
you were
there.
able to pull this off, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Okay, so this is the cloud kitchen at Cebu. So this is the kitchen architect Isabel List we mentioned a while ago about the tattoo patterns. This is the project wherein we incorporated that concept. So if you can look closely, there are some flattened patterns at the photo at below here. So there are some tattoo patterns that's incorporated. And also the ceiling design, we try to translate the tattoo patterns into that, just to highlight the concept that we want to achieve. So I think this was designed in the year of 2020. That's where when SE and PDP happened. So parang the designing went on that year. And then it was 2021 when we do the construction itself. So it's really a project within the pandemic that we did. So it's really maximizing, the online communication platform, coordinating with the clients, coordinating with the contractors, with the suppliers, and really telling them the instruction throughout that. And then also, it's also a challenge that we need to request site photos every week, just so that to manage and see how the progress of the site is, since we can't go to the site. Actually, this project right now we're on the punch list phase. We're in to check the site. Parang when we look into the photos niya with Architect Isabel, parang we want to jump into the photo. Parang we want to go near on that side and not on that area. Parang we're very detailed to check the detail. But yeah, actually, as Mom Isabel mentioned kanina, we're hoping and we're planning to do but yeah, Delta variant came, and then of course safety first. So yeah, we're just right now we're trying to really work with the site photos and to check the punch list. As a contractor, you just zoom in that area, you shoot that, and then that's how we will try to build on with checking the details.
Yeah, to add to this regarding this project, when we closed this project, this was supposed to be like a big food court. So, and in fact, some areas were supposed to be closed as like restaurants, kind of like restaurants within a mall. And then when the pandemic happened, because that was like right before lockdown. So when the lockdown happened and things started to go bad, they changed the concept and it became a cloud kitchen. So we actually never went to the site. We had to ask the project managers to video everything. So they had to send us videos facing out this side, panning the view, panning the ceilings, panning the floors. So we had to do that for all the areas, and this was huge. So we had meetings every like 3-4 days just to query on site, because there were conflicts between drawings and what was there. So we had to do everything digitally. And then until we went into the design, everything was still done remotely. Our clients are in Cebu. This is a Cebu project. So them in Cebu and us here in Manila. And it went that way from beginning to end. So until now, we have not been to the site. And we're just dying to go, but we don't want to get sick or spread COVID. So,
But that is amazing. That's amazing, Isabel, because even if you haven't been there, your design is as if you were there. Did you get that? Parang it doesn't seem na parang you were so far away from doing this. The beauty of you conceptualize and collaborate with the other trades, diba? Coordination is really key for you to pull off something like this, diba?
right.
Galing.
Yes. Yeah, and then, everyone has to be willing to flex for that. Everyone has to have that thinking that you pivot, because everyone has to really put that effort of changing your mindset. If not, you won't get anything done.
I agree.
Yeah.
You have to go the extra mile, everybody,
Yes.
so that you have to make it work, right?
Yes. Yeah, so, and then do we have more? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
I'll
more?
go through this. Yeah, this
go.
is also a project we did in Makati. Actually, this is two Rojas triangle, and beside it, it has what we call its older sister, one Rojas triangle.
Yeah.
That we're renovating in bits, and I'm saying in bits because the first tower, the integrity of design is still there, and it's very strong. So we discouraged the owners from touching it. So we said, let's just enhance it and bring it to today, but let's not rip everything down. So this one we're showing here is Tower 2, which is the newer tower, which this was like garden towers. We kind of finished the lobbies right before the lockdown, but then we had to do the punch listing of all the other areas. And until now, there are areas that are still being constructed because it's just been very, very slow. Again, because it's a residential condo, they're very careful about having too many people go in and out
Right.
the spaces.
And there's a certain time lang kasi, di ba? That you're allowed to go to the condo.
Yes. So if you look at this project, here we wanted a very stately and timeless look for the lobby. So everything's all in very neutral colors, and we have a lot of dark hardwood, mostly in like a walnut finish. Floors were all marble. Everything, we actually did this also in a turnkey. So everything is customized. So even the carpets are customized, the mirror frames are customized, all the area rugs as well. So it's still a challenge for us. We're still having to manage all the furniture pieces that have to go to all those other areas because we already have a lot of them and now they're in storage. So this is what the pandemic does. So maybe we'll finish this in a year. I'm not sure.
Cross fingers.
Cross fingers.
Cross
We'll see.
fingers. Good luck. I hope you guys finish it again.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Aside from this, we had another project in Cebu we finished. It was an office. We don't have photos yet, but it's also in the punch listing phase. And it's an office project we did with Arthur Land. It's the Cebu Exchange. So we did the common areas. And it's the same thing. Everything maneuvered by remote control. Everything digital.
It helps also when your client is also participative, and open to coordinate with you. Diba?
Yes.
Kasi it makes our job easier, and the coordination talaga is key. You guys have been to, you've done a lot of projects already wherein you haven't done the site visit yet. And I'm
Yes.
sure you feel so bad about it kasi syempre that's your accomplishment, diba?
Yes.
But
yes.
I mean, what can we do? We have to be safe first, diba? With everything
True.
that's happening. So, is this your last slide? Yes?
Yes, this is the last
Yeah.
one.
So
Yeah.
the nice thing here is the audience or those who are watching, they were able to see projects, interior projects that are residential and commercial, diba? The diversity of the projects that you guys showcased and how you are able to come up with concepts that are based on the personalities, characters of the client. At the same time, what should the end users feel? And you saw that with the projects of ABI. And again, with the palette and the characteristics also of the clients that you saw from Empire Designs, diba? So, I think one thing that we can also take from this is we're used to looking at designs sa magazines or, online. It's not often that you hear that designers actually say something about it and express the concept. This way, the audience can see how you guys think, diba? And how you conceptualize. And we're a little bit actually over time, and I don't want to take up more time from you guys. I'm super thankful that you are still here with us. You have no choice, but thank you.
We're actually having fun. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
we enjoy it anyway.
Talagang kapag it's about interior, I am not biased, but because a lot of people can relate a little bit more to that, diba? Versus
yes.
if you're doing exterior projects, kasi that's parang, that's longer. Ito kasi mas intimate to eh.
Yes.
With the designs that you guys are doing, I can say that interior design, you don't really have a brand. It's more of you make things work for your clients, diba? You work with them, and it's really you trying to put everything into perspective, fixing everything, organizing their thoughts. We've had so many trends in the past. Pre-pandemic, you have there your color of the year, for example. Everybody's looking forward to that. You also have your trend when it comes to furniture style. For a time, everybody wanted to use leather. Minsan naman, yung color ng walls, everybody wanted it neutral. Ayaw ng contrasting colors. What do you think will be the trend from this point to next year? During the pre-pandemic, it can be about the planning or the colors or how you conceptualize it. Let's start with Mark and Bianca.
Actually, it's very interesting to note that, when we design, it's actually it's client based or oriented in all aspects, whether it's architecture or interiors and architecture. It's interesting to note that, we are actually experiencing like a shift in the generation where we talk about or we cater our designs to. We're looking forward to a generation that's now highly digitalized, and these are going to be the next generation that the next future designers will be designing for. And this generation is actually, we call the Gen Z. And then actually we're looking at far future, like 10, 15 years down the line, it's called the Generation Alpha. When we design, we have to be very, sure about like the historic transition from one generation to the next. We are what are we? We're millennials, border.
Gen Y.
Gen Y. Yeah. So, the baby boomers, they had their own set of requirements or needs. We had our own. And then the next generation of market that we're talking to are going to be catering to will be now highly different from what we have now. So it's very exciting to look forward to. And of course, we just have to look into their aesthetics, their needs, basically.
Right. Bianca, anything to add to that?
I think that the trend now with like bringing the outdoors in, adding in more light, the plantitas, I think it will still continue while we're still here in this whole pandemic. So it's really more about using natural elements, organic forms, I think, it will still continue until next year.
It will, no? Parang there's still the transition will not be as big. It's really more of a continuation of the design and the trends. For ABI, Isabel, Rika, and Eliza, you do a lot of commercial projects also.
Right.
And the big boxes, the retails are, quiet now. Mahirap eh. We don't have a lot of malls opening. And
True.
maybe I want you to touch up on that. What do you think will be the trend to that? Because Bianca talked about other factors of design. Any thoughts on the retail aspect and the commercial side of design?
I think we're all still trying to adjust to what the pandemic is doing to society in general. So if you look at it, we all don't know when this is going to end. I think in the Philippines, what we're after is to get some degree of herd immunity in the way that you see countries like the UK, for example, or like Spain, where Bianca and I plan to go soon. They're opening up.
You said it.
They're opening up more. Their economy's opening up, no? So I think once we reach that point also, the malls, the retail market will start to resuscitate. And they will also probably be adjusting to what the market is calling for. So also if you notice now, for example, there are more restaurants offering outdoor dining. So we're going to have lockdowns like these where we can't dine outside, but when this settles down, where our curve goes down, we're probably going to be dining outside again safely. And you've probably seen more of the malls opening up to that. And maybe some of them will also have to repurpose some of their spaces. because you
Yes.
have facilities, for example, like movie houses, that people will probably not want to sit next to someone, and that's probably not going to be allowed. But maybe they can repurpose into, let's say, an art gallery where you
Right.
have scheduled visits, or maybe it can be used as an event place in the way that some hotels have very small scale banquets still. So
Yeah.
we're going to see that evolving. So I think it's taking a bit of a breather now, and then maybe in, I don't know, I hope maybe a year and a half, 2 years, they're all going to start getting up on their feet. We were actually with a potential client this morning, and they were talking about an educational business model that will be making use of mall space. And we just thought, wow, it was such a brilliant idea. I can't divulge details, but then I just thought it's fantastic if they can really do that. Then you see the repurposing, and you see the innovation that a pandemic can bring. So there's actually so much to look forward to, despite the issues that we have. Yeah.
You're right, Isabel. Like the innovation are they're so creative now, diba? Because you're forced to transform things.
Yes.
Exactly what you said with the movie house. What's going to happen to the movie houses, diba? And the ventilation is number one there. You can't really ask people to go inside. You won't feel healthy inside, diba, watching a movie. So what do you do? Tama, parang art gallery, or you work around it. So, and the outdoor dining, we've always wanted that here, diba? And
Yes.
we tried to always build on our property. Now, the use of open space, we feel the need for it, diba? And
Yes.
everybody's pushing for more open spaces. And the challenge for architects like us is, how do we protect the end users from the rain naman? Yun naman ang problema sa atin eh. We only have 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Pag ulan, feeling ng mga business owners, their restaurants will die. Walang pupunta because people will get wet. But you can always work around these things. And these are the
Yeah.
challenges that we would always face as designers.
Yeah, and also how to design with the heat patch, na ba?
Yes,
You
isa
see,
pa yun.
that's why a lot of people don't like
And the
to sit
PPE.
outside, na ba?
Exactly. Right. So,
Yeah.
again, human behavior will change, but our design will always be there because we always know the principles behind it, the theories, and we always need to understand who are the end users and what do they need. Diba? We're
Yes.
here to just fix that. And my last question, so that I can let you guys go, tip that you can give those people who are trying to design their houses, who will always say, I want to put this in this and this. They're so overwhelmed with everything. How can they start organizing before even getting an interior designer? Of course, that will be our ultimate goal, about get an interior designer. But how do they try to fix their own Pinterest boards first? Where do they start? Do they have to focus on one thing? Help our overwhelmed clients out there start their interior projects. Let's start with interior empire designs.
Yeah, there's actually what we call, a slogan that we have for Gussie. It's called "You deserve the home you love." So you have to start there, because everything will fall into place. Because at the end of the day, it's you who will be using your space. So anything that you would want to put, or anything that you see online or from your friend's place, from any interior space out there, always know for a fact that you deserve it. And just have prioritize what you need and all the requirements that you want for your space, and basically you can do anything.
For me, it's I guess minimalism. Like you don't have to fill in everything at the get-go. Like you want to have a home that has memories. You want like each piece, each art piece, each like even the vase should have like some meaning to you. You don't just buy it because it's pretty and it's gonna make my space look good. I think that would be a good tip, because at least it's really, again, something that you would like love to be seeing every day, love to be, you're going to be in a space where you love to be in, basically.
Yeah.
That's right. What about from Team ABI?
Eileen or Rika, you want to start?
Yeah, I think for the interior design, it's really, you know who you are, you know what you need, you know the design that makes you happy, and it's really important because it's the place that you'll stay. So I guess it's really the root of everything, that you really have to know your requirements, the design that you want, the design that will reflect yourself. And I think that's the main point. I mean, you'll see beautiful images like photos and the Pinterest or any social media app, but you know the really the design, the exact design that will make you happy. And I think that's the really one of the key points of interior designing your personal space.
Yes, and I think what we also need to point out to our viewers is that you need to invest in something that will last. I know there are a lot of cheap home items out there that's just on Shopee and Lazada, but we should also try to look into the details of, will this last, or am I gonna like to look at this item for a few years, or I'm just going to buy it for now and then maybe I'll throw it out later, which is really not sustainable and kind of wasteful actually.
Yeah. Well, I resonate with everyone that what you have, what you acquire, and what you keep are things that you love. And
Yes.
also, to add to that, your spaces should nourish you and inspire you. If your spaces are starting to burden you, if they're managing you instead of you managing them, then you need to start reassessing what you have. So in that same light, once you start thinking about decorating your space or designing your space, you start sparingly and you work up slowly. You don't, yeah, and be true to yourself. Don't buy something because everyone else is buying it and you think it's trendy, or you
Yeah.
think you want to be in, or what, because
Or
if
there's a
it's not,
sale.
yeah, because if it's not you, if it's not you, it will be clutter. It will just remain to be unappreciated clutter, and you don't. That's the least we need at this time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's right. And
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are correct. People shouldn't be pressured to fill up their houses or their units or their homes. It's just going to be like that, diba? That's why sometimes it's not sometimes it's really an investment. Your couch, your dining
Yes.
table, your bed, and you be the ones using this, diba? Think of yourself. It's self-love, not because there's a sale and not because it's 50% off. You need to buy it and swipe it and then just deal on how you are going to put it at home, diba?
Yeah.
Have an idea on how you want things to look, and from there, you'll enjoy it more because it's going to be pleasing to the eyes. And again, psychologically speaking, it's something that you want to go home to all the time and parang be inspired, right? And
Yeah.
thank you to our guests. I mean, this is why interior designers and architects and everybody in the industry are here, because we all collaborate to make things better, and the lifestyle of our clients and the end users, for them to appreciate how they work, how they maneuver with things. We're here to help them out on that. And thank you for sharing your projects with us. Again, we don't see this often. It's always either on print and then you read it. But now you were here to really express and explain to us on your design process and how you interact with your clients. So thank you for giving us this opportunity to interview you. So again, guys, we've also posted the website of Empire East, which is Gussie.design. You guys can check it out, and we'll also be posting their socials so that you can follow them and see their designs and their websites. Be inspired, and they're very reachable. Everybody's reachable now with social media, so just go out and collaborate with them. So, guys, Curve TV Season 3 is supported by Workfolk Collaborative Workspaces and Hospitality Innovation. For sponsorships and collaborations, if you want to feature your projects or your company please email boulderchannelph@gmail.com. Also, join us in Kumu by downloading the app. That's Kumu. That's app.kumu.ph/the Boulder Channel. Again, thank you very much, Bianca Favela and Mark Steven Perez, principal
Thank you.
interior designers and partners at Empire Designs. Thank you also, architect Isabel Berenguer Asuncion, principal architect and designer at Asuncion Berenguer Incorporated, together with interior designer Eileen Pagtanganan and architect Rica Diana Galvez. A round of applause for everybody. Thank you for sticking
Thank you.
with us
Thank
here
you.
on this show.
Thank you.
Tomorrow,
Thank you, man. Our
partners,
pleasure.
Thursday at the Boulder Channel, join Jamie G on Grind at 7:30 p.m. and Nico Loco on Brief Encounter at 5 p.m. Stay safe, everyone. Get an architect, get a contractor, get an engineer, get a designer, and get ahead of the curve. I'm Patch Kansana, and you've just watched Curve TV, your collaborative construction show, Season 3, pilot episode. See you next week, guys. Bye!
Bye. Thank
Right.
you. Bye.
Thanks.